Okay, guys, what's up and welcome to another amazing vlog. So check it out, man. We are obviously live today. I'm just trying to get sure the lighting better and correct. And so yesterday, man, we posted a video asking, well, earlier today, I guess, probably we posted a video asking. Um, we were talking about relationship matters, right? And we were speaking about, in 21st century with the kind of role changes and things that's happening in our society at this point. We're having a lot of situations where we got a little bit of a change of what traditionally used to be the case and is now no longer the case. Where traditionally it was always a matter of men cheat and men, cheating on their girlfriends or their wives, or men are the ones going out doing the
Not
thing
trash.
and blah blah blah. Men are trash. But now what we're starting to see is a steep uphill, well, incline of women actually beginning to walk out of marriages, women walking out of relationships, women leaving good men behind in marriage or in relationships, good men. And when I say good men, I mean men that come home, men that are there supportive for the kids, men that are supportive in marriage and supportive of their wives or their girlfriends' goals and that kind of thing. And so we're starting to see a steep incline. The reason we know this is obviously because we're also involved in a lot of counseling situations. And we're involved obviously in ministry and church, and so these things are obviously part of the kind of things that we have to deal with. And so that was kind of the whole situation that we wanted to address today. And if you guys perhaps want to just speak to us about it, there's nothing there. If you guys wanted to speak to us about it, that's why, in fact, we went live, and so that the conversation can go, like, basically happen while we speak. But we got some thoughts and we got some things that we would like to address about this, right? And first of all, I'd like to perhaps start with just relationship. When you do get into a relationship, what kind of things you should look out for, what kind of things that we take as for granted and we take as you should know, but it's actually things that you genuinely should look out for.
And before we start, we just like to say that we've only been married for 4 years. We don't know everything, and we don't say that it is the answer, but it is a pattern, and we've seen it happen over and over again. And you know, there are ways to prevent heartache.
Yeah. So we got some stuff that we would like to share with you. It might not be cast in stone, each to each their own, and situations are obviously different. But I would like to start off the conversation by saying this: is that when we continue to build on at the house here, and when we started actually building, it was one of the first projects I did, like that I basically oversaw myself with builders, and it's my house, and so obviously um, there's a different kind of protocol or a different kind of responsibility you take when it's yours, and your family has to live in it, and so you want to make sure everything is done properly, everything is in order, everything is done correctly. So you want to make sure that is very well the case. And so when I first started building this home, the guys obviously came out, the builders, and came to check. And the first process that had to happen was, number one, they had to break down some of the old stuff that was here. So there was a wall previously, they had to break that wall down, right? When that wall was broken down, was left with a bunch of rubble. With all that rubble, they had to take the rubble out and take it to the dump, or go dump it where we could dump it. Outside of that, when we're done with that whole process, which took about a week, we then had to start building a foundation, right? Well, digging a foundation. And so with digging the foundation, yeah, they were here with the pickaxe and the spades and all this stuff, and they began to dig a foundation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, up until this point, we are almost 2-3 weeks into the project, and up until this point, I don't see any walls, I don't see any extension, I don't see lights, I don't see windows, I don't see anything. However, this does not negate the fact that the process that we are busy embarking on is any less important, right? Because what we got to remember is that even the foundation, even though you don't see it, even though the rubble and the breaking down and it's messy and all that kind of stuff, there isn't progress yet. This is, however, a very important part of the building process, right? So now they begin to build the foundation. So that takes another week and a half, a week or two, depending on how big the project is. Then they begin to mix something called ready mix, where they got cement and a bunch of stuff that they do a mixture of, like concrete. then they have to throw it into the actual foundation. And ladies and gentlemen, up until this point, you still don't see any building. Then only after that cement is dried properly and cured, and they show there's no cracks, and it's level and everything is straight. And this is probably a month later. Now all of a sudden you begin to see some sort of building process happening. And then about a week or two after, now you begin to see the wall. Now you begin to see where the window is going to be. Obviously you got plans before that because you know what the overall vision for this whole thing is. But now you begin to now see the walls, you begin to see the windows, you begin to see where the door is going to be. They put in the door frames. And as that whole process continues, now you can start seeing, oh, this is what the house should look like. Allow me for a second then now to bring this over into the kids are crying and all that kind of thing, so I'm going to go make sure. But allow me for a second now to bring that over to what has to happen now in reality when it comes to relationships, when it comes to building towards a marriage. When in your dating process, there might be some things that you have to perhaps break down. You perhaps were in a relationship with someone before. This could be your breaking process, and so you had emotions with this person. You perhaps have slept with this person. You perhaps have a kid with this person, and that process I would like to equate then to their breaking down process, the cleaning process, the cleansing process, the process of driving the rubble out, going to dump all the rubble, cleaning your mind, cleaning your soul, cleaning your thoughts from perhaps maybe your ex relationship, or perhaps something that might have happened to you in the past, or perhaps something that might have gone wrong with you. Maybe you were molested as a kid, or maybe you were touched inappropriately. Maybe a parent might have abused you, verbal abuse, maybe physical abuse. Maybe there's a lot of fighting going on in your home. Maybe there's a bunch of things happening to you as a person. I would like to then suggest, before you even begin to embark on any kind of serious relationship, I'd suggest some sort of counseling. I'd suggest some sort of soul searching kind of process. I'd suggest that process that I spoke about. And if you just joined us now on the live stream, maybe you want to go back. Obviously, after this goes onto the channel, you want to go back and check it out. But I suggest that you begin to delve into that, and you begin to try and sort that out, that cleansing process, that process of the wall that was there. You want to remove that. You want to remove the rubble. You want to remove the dirt. You want to remove all the stuff that you might have been dealing with, or stuff that might have happened to you. Then only after that, now, when there's a saying that says, you 50% and your partner's 50%, and then together you make 100%. I don't entirely agree with that saying, because I feel like you have to come with all of you, your whole 100%. I feel like John Legend, all of me loves all of you. You have to come with your whole 100%. And then, of course, your partner has to come with her or his whole 100%. And then together you guys begin to now work on a relationship. Because, of course, there are things that you have to deal with. We're not negating that, and we're not looking away from that. We are acknowledging that that is a reality. But when you and your partner begin now to come together, you want to complement one another. You want to be there for one another. You want to support one another through tough times, through good times, through ups, through downs, through bad times, through whatever. So if in a case, in an event where a partner was perhaps gone through a traumatic experience in their lives, maybe lost a lover, maybe lost a family member, maybe, like I said, physically abused, mentally abused, verbally abused, or even sexually abused, you want to then be there for that partner, and together you want to complement one another moving forward. Moving on to the foundation stages. Ladies and gentlemen, this is now our dating stage, right? While we're in our dating stages, we perhaps can't yet see the actual marriage, or we can't see kids, or we can't see this home, or whatever the case might be. But we are in our foundation stages, which means we are now dating, which means we are now going out for supper, we're now meeting the family, we're now doing all those kinds of things, and we're now really getting into the vibe. When we begin to do that, now we are building a foundation. While we're building that foundation, it's important for us to nurture that foundation process. It's important for us to speak correctly to one another, and when I say that, I've counseled a lot of couples, and in the beginning, while they're dating, they're swearing each other, they're throwing each other with cups and saucers, they're disrespectful to one another. They do a bunch of things that messes up the foundation process of this relationship. And when you begin to mess up that foundation process, what you need to understand is that now that that foundation is messed up the way it is, when you begin to build on a foundation that already has cracks, or a foundation that hasn't cured properly, or a foundation that's just all over the place, I'm willing to bet that somewhere, somehow, while that wall is being built, even though it looks like everything is okay, even though it looks like things are okay, somewhere, somehow, the cracks will start showing. Why? Because their foundation wasn't built correctly. Their foundation there wasn't enough time for the foundation to cure. There wasn't enough energy, there wasn't enough effort, there wasn't enough put into that foundation to make sure that this foundation is going to stand, this foundation is going to be solid. What I mean by that, sometimes you rush into something. Sometimes you find that the partner might be expecting, pregnant, something like that, and now you want to rush quickly just to quickly, cover up maybe your tracks because you don't want your family to find out, or now you want to get married like the next week or something. You begin to do things that rushes the process. And I want to suggest to you that when you begin to do that, if I then connect it to my previous illustration, is that you don't wait now for the foundation to cure. The cracks in the foundation is not cured. So somewhere in the future, you might end up having some sort of issue. Somewhere in the future, you might sit with a problem where cracks start showing and things start happening. So let's move on to the next stage of your building process. So in that dating process, family, you don't want to be swearing one another. You don't want to be disrespectful to one another. You don't want to be, you're fighting in the car and, doing things like getting out the car and on the side of the road and embarrassing each other at events. You all there at your family event, and now someone now get upset and you push. Now the whole family now sees, what's going on? These people are arguing, these people are fighting. Those are disrespectful things to do to one another, not to mention the fact that it is also quite immature and childish for you to do that to each other. And so that's the foundation process, and already I'm going over time. So that's something that if you want us to speak more about just, growing a relationship from the beginning, to actually just growing it and taking your time to making sure that that foundation is sorted out. This is important, family, because when you move forward, that foundation will then have a wall on it, and that wall will have to be built correctly. And as a result, man, what will later then begin to happen is that you will then find yourself in a position where if your foundation was done correctly, the wall won't crack. If a bunch of things in the beginning in your relationship was done the way they should have been done, the wall won't crack later on in your relationship. And I want to delve deeper into that, but maybe on another vlog, what those things might be. Physical things, mental things, verbal things that you guys might have done to one another that caused the foundation to be a bit unstable. So you want to, if ever you're venturing into a new relationship or you're thinking about getting married, please ensure that foundational steps are accurate. You took your time, you made sure things are in order, things are done correctly, and then moving forward, you stand less of a chance. It's not guaranteed. I've known people that had a brilliant foundation, that did things properly, and still end up in divorce court. So it could go either way. But to guarantee your chances of a successful relationship, a successful marriage, a successful whatever it is that you're working on, you want to make sure that foundation is nice and solid and accurate. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I am kind of over the time now, and so yeah, thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow morning. Love you.